You twist open a small jar in your kitchen. The lid gives a soft plastic squeak, and then the smell rises. Warm, sweet, almost peppery, like a fireplace made edible. For a second, your brain can't decide whether it feels like dessert, or medicine, or both. And there they are in your palm, tiny, nail-shaped buds, cloves. Here's the strange part. These little spice pins were once so valuable that they pulled ships across oceans and helped ignite the age of exploration. People didn't just cook with them, they fought over where they grew. So what exactly are cloves? And why does something so small carry so much power? Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. A flower bud paused in time. Cloves come from an evergreen tree called Syzygium aromaticum, a member of the myrtle family. In the right conditions, the tree often reaches around 15 to 20 meters. But the part we care about isn't the trunk or the leaves. It's what happens when the tree prepares to flower. When the clove tree is ready, it produces clusters of buds that shift color as they mature, pale green, then blushing toward pinkish red, as if they're about to open. But they never do. Harvesters pick those buds just before the flowers bloom, when the aroma is strongest. Then the buds are dried, often under the sun, until they turn dark brown and harden into the spice we recognize. That's why each clove has that unmistakable shape, a bulbous head and a slender stem, like nature made its own tiny spice pin. You're holding a bloom stopped at its most fragrant moment. Medicine, myth, and the line between. For thousands of years, cloves have been used in traditional medicine across many cultures. In Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine, they were prescribed for digestive issues, colds, and other ailments, sometimes even described as an aphrodisiac. Modern research has backed parts of that reputation. Cloves are rich in antioxidants, and they show anti-inflammatory potential. They may aid digestion by stimulating the secretion of digestive enzymes, and some studies suggest clove extracts might help regulate blood sugar. But cloves also come with a warning written in their own intensity: potency. Especially in oil form, too much can move from helpful to harmful quickly. Natural doesn't always mean gentle. Sometimes it just means concentrated. Where cloves live now: food, scent, memory. In baking, they help build that unmistakable holiday warmth. In savory cooking, they deepen stews, curries, and rice. In drinks, they turn a simple cup into a small ceremony. Beyond food, cloves appear as scent. In many parts of Africa and the Middle East, they're used in perfumes and incense, and their fragrance is believed to ward off negative energy and attract prosperity. In Indonesia, cloves are famously used in kretek cigarettes, a tobacco and clove blend known for a distinctive crackling sound. In the West, they become seasonal shorthand. Christmas hams, simmering pots of spiced drinks, and oranges studded with cloves, part decoration, part fragrance. The Spice Islands' origin. Cloves feel universal now, but their story begins in one place: the Maluku Islands of Indonesia, long known as the Spice Islands. For centuries, these islands were the only place on Earth where cloves grew naturally. When a powerful flavor has a single address, desire becomes a root. It's hard to feel that today under fluorescent lights. But imagine this scent coming from an island you may never see, and every clove you taste traveling through storms, ports, bargaining, and time. Cloves remind us that origins shape what humans will do to get what they want. Sometimes that distance still shows up in the way we use it. Cloves aren't everyday salt. They arrive for moments that feel special: when a house smells like baking, when a drink is meant to be shared, when food is meant to comfort more than impress. Even before you know the history, your instincts treat cloves like an ingredient with a passport stamp. Ancient trade in a single bud. Even in ancient times, cloves moved farther than most people ever did. Archaeologists have found traces of cloves dating as far back as 1721 BCE in a ceramic vessel from Syria, thousands of miles from where cloves grew. It means the spice trade was crossing continents when history itself was still learning to write. Picture the chain. A bud picked green on a tropical island, dried into a dark nail, carried by boat, then by caravan, then traded again in markets where the language changes every few miles. They weren't carrying a seasoning. They were carrying something light, compact, and intensely wanted. A smell became a passport. And when a smell becomes a passport, it can become a reason to fight. When a spice was worth fighting for. Luxury, preservation, power. By the Middle Ages, cloves reached Europe largely through Arab traders and became a luxury for the wealthy, rare enough to signal status. Cloves were also practical. In a world without refrigeration, they helped preserve food and improve the flavor of stored ingredients, making everyday eating feel safer and kinder. Rare, portable, valuable, useful. Those are the ingredients of obsession. That obsession helped ignite the age of exploration. European powers searched for direct access to the Spice Islands, and Portugal and the Netherlands fought fiercely for control over territories where cloves and nutmeg were grown. It sounds dramatic for something you can hold between two fingers. But history often turns on small things, especially the ones people crave. The flavor that takes over. Cloves don't add a note, they change the whole chord. Their flavor is warm and slightly sweet at first, then sharply pungent, with a hint of bitterness that gives depth. In sweet foods, gingerbread, pumpkin pie, spiced cookies, ground cloves sit behind the scenes like a bass note. You might not taste clove as a separate thing, but you'd notice the missing weight if it disappeared. In savory cooking, whole cloves release aroma slowly in stews, curries, and rice dishes. In many Asian and Middle Eastern cuisines, cloves anchor spice blends like garam masala and Chinese five-spice. Even drinks get their share. 1 or 2 cloves can transform chai, mulled wine, or spiced cider into something instantly comforting. The trick is moderation. With cloves, a little isn't a suggestion, it's the rule. If you're unsure, start smaller than you think. You can always add warmth later. Taking cloves out after they've overpowered a pot is like trying to unring a bell. Eugenol and the numbing clue. Cloves smell like comfort and antiseptic at the same time for a reason. The secret is eugenol, a compound that makes up about 80 to 90% of clove essential oil. Eugenol powers the warm, spicy sweet aroma, but it also explains the sensation. If you've ever bitten a clove by accident, your mouth may go slightly quiet, as if your tongue's volume dropped for a moment. It's also why clove oil has long been used in dental care to soothe toothaches and freshen breath, and why you may see it listed in some toothpastes and mouthwashes. Beyond that, eugenol is known for antibacterial and antifungal properties, part of why cloves earned a medicinal reputation long before modern labs could name the chemistry. Cloves aren't powerful because they're mysterious. They're powerful because they're concentrated. How cloves go wrong. The most common mistake happens in a normal kitchen. A recipe calls for a few cloves. You look at the jar and think, a few is nothing, so you add more. The kitchen smells incredible. Then you taste it, and suddenly everything tastes like cloves. Not spiced, just clove. The dish feels like it borrowed its flavor from a medicine cabinet. Cloves scale fast. A small increase becomes a takeover. Another misunderstanding is simpler. People confuse cloves with other dried spices. But once you know what they are, they're easy to spot. Bud head, slender stem, that nail shape. And then there's clove oil. It isn't cloves, but stronger. It's cloves condensed. Too much can be toxic, and it's best used with restraint, or professional guidance when it's medicinal. With cloves, strength is the point. Restraint is the skill. The 5-second rule. How to choose good cloves fast. You don't need training to choose good cloves. You need a quick check. Choose cloves with a plump, intact bud head and a whole stem. Avoid jars full of broken shards and dust. Open the jar. The aroma should rise immediately. Warm, sharp, unmistakable. If it feels faint, the cloves are tired. A good clove releases fragrance fast and may feel slightly oily, not wet, just alive. That's the essential oil still present. Cloves should never be shy. Their identity is intensity. If they've gone quiet, the story has faded. A small bud that changes the whole pot. Back in your kitchen, you screw the lid onto the jar again. The soft plastic squeak returns, small, ordinary, familiar. The cloves settle in the dark, and the label faces outward like nothing happened. But the scent lingers, warm and sharp, like a memory you didn't plan to visit. And that's the real secret of cloves. They don't just flavor food, they flavor moments. They slip into winter kitchens, family recipes, steam rising from mugs, into that feeling that warmth is on the way. Once, this tiny spice pin was valuable enough to pull ships across oceans. Now it sits quietly in your palm, doing the same thing in a smaller way, shifting the mood of an entire pot with almost nothing at all. Because presence isn't about size. It's about what remains after you've walked away. So next time you reach for cloves, use them gently. Let them support, not dominate. And notice how something so small can still change everything. If this changed the way you see that little jar of cloves, tell me, how do you use them most? Chai, holiday baking, savory dishes, or something unexpected? And if you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories inside everyday ingredients, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next small secret.